Florida thought it knew who lived in its neighborhoods until a 10-day statewide sweep uncovered a disturbing truth. Behind quiet homes, near schools, inside apartment complexes, and around public parks, dozens of convicted predators who were supposed to be deported years ago had quietly blended back into everyday life, and no one knew they were still there. In today's deep dive, we break down how federal agents and Florida law enforcement exposed more than 230 criminals, including 54 convicted child predators who had been living undetected in communities for years. This is the real story behind ICE's Operation Dirtbag, how it happened, why these individuals were able to hide for so long, and what it reveals about America's immigration system. Oh, and don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe so as to see more operations like this. Opening, the arrest that set the tone.
You can't grab me like that. You can't grab me like that. Okay. Wait.
Those were the shouts caught on video as ICE agents moved in on one of the suspects during the sting. The confrontation quickly circulated online.
These individuals should have never been in our country to begin with. The fact that they're deviants and now we've gotten them off of our streets, it's remarkable and we need to do more of it.
But it represented something much larger, a renewed federal push to locate, arrest, and deport criminals who had slipped through years of enforcement gaps. At an ICE press conference in Miramar, Florida, officials announced the scope of the operation.
Moved 54 predators, 164 offenders of crimes, 2 convicted murderers.
The discovery. Florida learned who lived next door. The operation began quietly. Over 10 days, teams of ICE agents, state police, sheriff's deputies, and federal task forces moved county by county, knocking on doors at dawn, tracking leads, and pulling suspects out of homes, construction sites, parking lots, and residential complexes. And as each arrest was logged, the numbers grew rapidly. 54 convicted child predators, 164 additional convicted offenders, including drug dealers, repeat burglars, and violent criminals, 2 convicted murderers, hundreds of final deportation orders going back as far as 2012. Some suspects had double-digit arrest records. Others had been ordered removed from the United States more than a decade ago. Yet they were living freely, working jobs, renting apartments, walking around town as if their legal cases no longer existed. Officials named the effort Operation Dirtbag. The goal wasn't random immigration enforcement. It was a surgical hunt for known criminals who should have been gone long ago. Why Florida launched the sting? Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem described it bluntly.
I call it Operation Dirtbag because these individuals were offenders, but not just offenders, they targeted.
The operation was created as a response to a long-standing problem. Criminals who had completed their prison time received deportation orders but were never removed. Many of them changed addresses without reporting it, stopped checking in with authorities, moved between counties, used loopholes in federal prioritization policies, benefited from periods of limited ICE resources. Some simply vanished into communities, and because enforcement priorities shifted over the years, many were never followed up on. Under previous DHS guidelines, ICE was often restricted to pursuing only certain categories of cases, primarily recent border encounters or the most severe violent offenders. That meant thousands of individuals with older convictions or lower priority cases remained free unless they were arrested again. Operation Dirtbag reversed that trend. Who they found, cases that shocked investigators. Federal officials released a list of individuals arrested during the sting. The details were staggering. 1. Sergio Velasquez Carrero, 63, Cuba. Convicted of lewd and lascivious acts on a minor. Multiple violations for failing to register as required. Ordered deported in 2017. Found living freely in Florida 8 years later. 2. Frank René Gachal Borges, 51, Cuba. Convicted for sexual crimes on a minor. Sentenced to 4 years in prison. Ordered removed in 2022. Still in Florida 3.5 years later. 3. A 19-time repeat offender. One arrest stood out above all. 19 prior arrests, including homicide, assault on law enforcement, robbery, kidnapping, possession of child exploitation material. Despite this history, the individual remained free until Operation Dirtbag. 4. Another with 10 arrests. This suspect had a decade's worth of arrests, yet evaded removal repeatedly due to lack of coordination between local and federal systems. 5. Vladimir Garcia Montero, 48, Cuba. Burglary, auto theft, loitering, resisting arrest, sexual battery on a minor, ordered deported years earlier. 6. Saturnino Duran Perez, 69, Cuba. Convicted of sexual assault. Removal order from 2020. Still living in Florida 5 years later. Each case revealed the same disturbing pattern. Multiple crimes, multiple convictions, multiple chances to deport them, and years of failure to act. The systemic failure, how they hid in plain sight. The central question of this investigation quickly became clear. How did these predators stay free for so long? Several factors emerged. 1. Limited ICE manpower. ICE has roughly 6,000 deportation officers nationwide. For years, agents said they had to prioritize recent border crossers over historical absconders. 2. Enforcement priority limitations, 2021 to 2025. Under policy at that time, ICE was instructed to pursue only certain categories. Many offenders with older cases were no longer targeted unless they committed new violent crimes. 3. Lack of coordination. Even though Florida's state registry tracked offenders, those databases didn't always trigger federal immigration action, especially if priority categories didn't match. 4. Local releases. Some offenders, even after serious arrests, were released on bond or placed under non-extraditable warrants, allowing them to move freely. 5. Final orders with no follow-up. Many individuals simply ignored their final deportation orders. Without active follow-up, they effectively disappeared. How the operation worked. 10 days, 67 counties. Operation Dirtbag covered every county in Florida, from the Panhandle to the Keys. The Miami ICE field office coordinated the sweep, but local sheriff's departments and FDLE officers played crucial roles. Agents used address records, past arrest reports, probation files, immigration court documents, digital surveillance, street-level intelligence, and 287G law enforcement partnerships. The operation averaged 23 arrests per day. It was one of the largest coordinated manhunts in ICE's history. The 287G program, the controversial tool behind the success. Florida's ability to execute Operation Dirtbag hinged on one powerful and highly debated program, 287G. What is 287G? Section 287G of the Immigration and Nationality Act allows ICE to deputize local officers to perform certain immigration enforcement tasks. Florida used all three models. 1. Jail enforcement model. Deputies interview inmates about immigration status and issue detainers to hold them for ICE. 2. Warrant service officer model. Jail staff can serve administrative immigration warrants. 3. Task force model. Local officers can enforce immigration law during patrols and investigations. The task force model is the most controversial and the most impactful. Florida leads the nation. By 2025, 325 active 287G agreements, a 576% increase since January 2025. 4,700 plus deputized officers statewide. This made Florida the most aggressive state in the country in immigration enforcement. ICE allocated $38 million in funding, equipment for almost 900 officers, $27 million for state-level personnel, $7,500 per trained officer, vehicle and transport reimbursements. This partnership allowed local police to identify removable individuals even during routine encounters, something critics say risks race profiling, but which supporters argue saved lives. Critics versus supporters, the national debate. The operation immediately reignited a long-running political fight. Supporters argue
it removes dangerous criminals. It prevents repeat offenses. It strengthens federal-state cooperation. It keeps predators away from families. It reduces pressure on overwhelmed ICE resources. Governor DeSantis praised the operation, saying Florida was the federal government's strongest tool in enforcing immigration law. Secretary Noem said this model should expand nationwide. Critics argue. Groups like the ACLU and immigrant advocacy organizations claim that 287G harms trust between immigrant communities and police. Local police shouldn't perform federal duties. It exposes agencies to lawsuits. Training is insufficient for complex immigration law. It encourages overreach during traffic stops. Florida officials dismissed those criticisms during the press conference, saying the arrests justified the program's expansion. Article number 20. After the arrests, where the suspects were taken. All individuals arrested in Operation Dirtbag were placed into federal custody. Many will eventually be moved to detention facilities, including the controversial center known as Alligator Alcatraz, a remote Everglades-based facility originally funded with FEMA grants. State officials now use it exclusively to house deportable criminals. It is isolated, heavily secured, and notoriously difficult to escape. Article number 22. FDLE's warning to remaining fugitives.
Florida's top law enforcement officials ended their press briefing with a direct message for anyone who still has an outstanding deportation order. This is a free state, but not for criminals. If you think you can hide here, think again. Turn yourself in now, or we will find you. Commissioner Mark Glass went even further. If you voluntarily go to the ICE office in Miramar, we will escort you to the airport. If not, we'll come to you.